Hello, I'm Joey Wallace, Director of the RESNA Catalyst Project, and today we're going to introduce you to the project, its staff, and a little bit about who we are and what we do, but maybe most importantly, how you can reach us and how we can help improve folks' access to assistive technology. I would like to begin at the beginning and talk to you a little bit about what is assistive technology and what might it do for you in your life. And first of all, the simple definition is what assistive technology can do for you in your home, in your life, to make you more independent and to make your access to your community a little more functional. Assistive technology is typically talked about in terms of devices and services. Devices can include most anything from a home modification to a hearing aid, a speech device, vision-related equipment, anything low-tech or high-tech that can help you with your independence. But just as importantly are assistive technology services. These services can include the evaluation that helps you determine the best device for you. It includes the repair of that device once you get it. It can include the funding necessary to obtain that device. And these services, when they're not in place, can really keep you from getting the device or getting the right device. So keep in mind that services must be paired with devices to correctly introduce these into your life. Now, the benefits of assistive technology to an individual with a disability can be many. They can make a big difference across all parts of your life: home, work, employment, school, recreation. The ultimate outcome, of course, is integrated community living, improved independence. And when we talk about assistive technology and disability, it can really make a difference for people of all ages, across all lifespans. It's a very important difference that it can make for everyone. So now let me tell you about the RESNA Catalyst Project. We are funded under a federal grant, and our charge is to provide assistance, assistive technology-related assistance, to all of the states and territories. We provide information on vast resources, state by state, and we try to connect consumers with those programs, and we do that in a variety of ways. We have statewide resource listings. We conduct webinars on a vast variety of AT topics. We provide a connection to all of the alternative financing programs across the country, which help people purchase and get their assistive technology funded. Now, we will talk a little bit more specifically about the statewide assistive technology programs, about the alternative financing programs. And I also want to mention that we provide technical assistance to the protection and advocacy programs across the country, which really are critical in providing people help when they have trouble getting their assistive technology in their life. Now, the resources we offer are a very quick and easy to follow state-by-state informational listing, and all of the programs that you will hear mentioned can be reached through our state contact information. We also host a library, a broad library of assistive technology related webinars on multiple topics of interest, which span the entire spectrum of assistive technology. And I also want to mention we have a monthly newsletter we call Highlights. It keeps current information out in front of folks, and it's made available through our website. And I encourage people to take a look at that and and certainly it's available. I would like now to pass it over to my colleague, Paul Galonsky, and Paul, take it from here.
Again, my name is Paul Galonsky, and I work with Joey Wallace and along with Jason Luciano at the RESNA Catalyst Project. I'm a RESNA project coordinator. And I'm going to talk today a little bit about the statewide assistive technology programs. And I'm going to try to walk you through what it is like if you were to set up an appointment and visit a statewide assistive technology program. Statewide assistive technology programs are designed to help people live more independently and through the use of assistive technology. So, keeping in mind assistive technology is the reason why these statewide assistive technology programs exist. Statewide assistive technology programs are really neat in the sense that they provide free services for most people, in particular people living with a disability or their family members and their family members. So I'm on the third slide now of my presentation, and the third slide starts with statewide assistive technology programs provide the following. So what I want to do is just kind of now walk you through what it is like, again, to visit a statewide assistive technology program. Again, keeping in mind that the program provides free services that are available to people living with a disability and their families. And it's also important to know that each state has its own unique program that suits its state and its population. But more or less, each statewide AT program provides the following. And the following consists of information, general, as well as specific information about assistive technology devices, services available, and where to attain them. You may not be able to obtain the assistive technology device, believe it or not, at the statewide assistive technology program, but oftentimes the professionals working at the program will be able to guide you to other resources. So when you go to the program, you could look around, you could see all the different types of technology that's available in that statewide assistive technology program. And then if you're interested, you can actually receive what's called a device demonstration and a device loan. And so an AT device demonstration provides the opportunity for a person to interact with a piece of assistive technology or some type of device and learn about its features and then compare it with other similar devices that may be at the statewide assistive technology program. Additionally, the demo will help in understanding what possible devices might work best based on that individual's functioning and functional needs. So once the individual receives a device demonstration, and this device demonstration, by the way, is often demonstrated by what's called an assistive technology professional. Keep that in mind. Once the device is demonstrated, you may like it, and you may want to actually use it in your daily life. And the great thing about these programs is they provide free device loans. So after you've had an opportunity to demo the different technology, you could choose to borrow a device for a short period of time. It could be anywhere from a month to 6 weeks, where you could use this device in your daily life and decide if it works for you, decide if it is a good actual piece of equipment, a piece of technology that really will support your needs or support one's needs. What's neat about this is by being able to borrow the device, an individual gets the chance to try the device before they actually buy it. Oftentimes assistive technology could be quite cheap, but oftentimes there's all types of assistive technology out there, and devices can be very expensive as well. So this gives you an opportunity to try before you buy. The next thing is, once you are satisfied with the device, that perhaps you have seen as a demonstration or even have borrowed for a while, you may want to purchase the device. Now, keep in mind that the statewide AT programs provide device demonstrations and loans, but they're not able to purchase assistive technology directly for individuals. So it's really up to the individual once they go through the program to purchase the assistive technology that works for him or her. The good news is that most statewide AT programs have a financing component within their program or in their state. And they also, if they don't have a financial component, they work oftentimes with what's called an alternative financing program. And when I'm done explaining all of this, we're going to hand it over to Jason Luciano, and he's going to talk more specifically about funding resources through the alternative financing programs. So keep in mind, if the statewide AT program doesn't have a financing component, they will most likely, again, be able to refer you to one. Finally, most statewide AT programs provide what are called device exchange and recycling programs, and these are really neat too. Most of these programs have what are called reused or recycled assistive technology devices, and they give new life to this used equipment, if you will. Most of the equipment obviously goes through a checklist to make sure that it's functioning correctly, as well as sterilized, so it's cleaned correctly. And most of the individuals that receive this assistive technology receive it at little to no cost. So it's a really neat way to obtain different types of devices and technology through the device exchange and recycling program. Keep in mind that a lot of the device or the recycled devices are considered what we call durable medical equipment. So that means it could be like a wheelchair or maybe a commode or crutches, something that somebody uses for a while in his or her life, but then no longer needs it for whatever reason, and then they will hand it over to the statewide AT. They'll donate it to the statewide AT program. So I think that gives you, in a very quick nutshell, what it's like to visit a statewide assistive technology program. The next slide talks about how to actually get in touch with a statewide assistive technology program. So again, people with disabilities as well as their families are invited and welcomed to access a statewide assistive technology program. The best way or the most simple way to do so is by visiting a website that the RESNA Catalyst Project has developed. And the website address is www.findatnow.org. And Find AT Now is all one word. So that's www.findatnow.org. And now I'd like to turn it back over to Joey Wallace, who will introduce Jason Luciano. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. And Paul is the Catalyst liaison to all the statewide AT programs and can be reached at the Catalyst Project for more information. If you have any questions, he'd be happy to talk with you. My colleague at RESNA who works with the financial loan programs is Jason Luciano, and he will talk to us about the components of the alternative financing programs and what they can do for you. Hello, Jason.
Thank you, Joey. Thank you, Joey. And that's exactly just what I wanted to highlight for everybody today. I wanted to make sure everyone understands a little bit of the background as to what led to the development of some of these programs, and then how they're actually going to be of benefit to you or people that you know who could take advantage of these opportunities. So in order to back up and just let people know, on the next slide that I have, There was recognized that there was a problem for people with disabilities in this country. Congress actually, realized that people with disabilities are historically overrepresented in the unemployment numbers, and they're overrepresented in the underemployment numbers for people not working to a full potential or working full time, for example, if that's what their desire is. And I have some of the numbers listed here that comes from the last census that kind of highlights that point. And we see that currently the U.S. unemployment rate is about 6.8%. But if you're a person with a disability, you can expect your population unemployment rate to be over 14%, so over twice as much. In addition, people living in poverty, people with disabilities, are extremely overrepresented. And if you're a person with a disability, there's about a 1 in 5 chance that you're going to be living below the poverty level. And if you're a woman with a disability, that becomes almost a 1 in 4 chance. So something needs to happen to help out with this population and this situation. And because of that, Congress enacted laws. Most recently, it was reauthorized in 2004 to provide funding for the things that Paul talked about, for some of the things that I'm going to be talking about. Because there was the acknowledgement and the recognition that for people with disabilities, assistive devices and assistive technology and assistive services, we often use them interchangeably, but assistive technology is vital for independent living. It's vital for folks to stay in their home. It's vital for them to remain in the workforce. But at the same time, while it's vital, it's exceptionally expensive in many cases. Paul said that, some things can be really inexpensive and a quick fix to help people live a little more comfortably. But things can also be very expensive when you're talking about power wheelchairs, modifications to vehicles for someone who needs a modified vehicle to be able to drive with hand controls, for example. Modifications to a home for somebody in a wheelchair to widen doorways or put ramps in. And these things were often so cost prohibitive. So with that being said, on the next slide, we talk about how Congress enacted laws to establish these alternative financing programs. 41 states have some sort of financing component for assistive technology. Some of that is what Paul talked about within the state plans, the statewide programs themselves, and some of them are standalone entities. For what is technically called an alternative financing program, which is what I'm going to talk about, there are 36 of those. In each 36 states across the country have their own program, and these are state-by-state programs. So these were, as I was saying, these were set up in order to help people with disabilities get assistive devices and services and make them affordable for them. So in a nutshell, what they do, they offer low or no interest cash financing options to purchase these devices. So you're able to actually purchase your own. You go to a state program, you have a demonstration, you see what's available. You get to try something out short term on a device loan. Hey, this really works for me. This is awesome. Uh-oh, it's $5,000. What the heck am I going to do now? Then you can go to your state financing program and they can help you find options for affording it. In addition to that, a lot of these AFPs have sort of evolved and developed wraparound services for people with disabilities within the financial realm. And that includes financial literacy and financial education, helping people learn how to make good financial decisions, how to make themselves better borrowers, more attractive financial consumers to the lending industry. So that's some of the options that some of these programs have to offer as well. But really, there are 4 general ways on the next slide that we talk about that alternative financing programs assist people with disabilities through these cash loan options. There are 4 different program components that all of these programs have at least one, if not multiple of these, and I'm going to talk through what they are. These are loan guarantees, interest rate buy-downs, direct or revolving loans, and a non-guarantee low-interest loan. So let's start with the first one. What is a loan guarantee? A loan guarantee is where the program will actually, for all intents and purposes, co-sign the application for the person with the disability. Now, if you remember, we talked about the overrepresentation in poverty, the underrepresentation in the workforce. These things significantly impact the financial credibility of people with disabilities in many situations. Sometimes it's because of the situation that led them who have a disability, causes financial impact, financial turmoil, it may be difficult for that person to obtain independent financing. So when that's the case, these programs are able to step up and say, you know what, we believe in this person, we believe that they're good for it, and we think that they can afford to make these payments. So they will back the loan, they will guarantee the loan for the lending institution that they partner with. That will allow the bank or the credit union, whoever they're working with, to actually provide that financing, and then the person's able to make their monthly payments as regularly scheduled. The next option that most programs have is what they call an interest rate buy-down. Now, you know, if you go in as an independent person and apply for a loan, you may be looking at 12, 15% interest rate in some situations. And it always fluctuates based on what your credit score is and all of that other good stuff the banks pull up and try not to tell you too much about. But what these programs do is actually pay down the interest rate. So they will pay a fee to the bank to provide a low interest rate for the people with disabilities getting the loans. I've seen these as low as 1%. Usually they hover right around 3-4%. So these are exceptionally attractive rates. And they're done in this manner to be able to make these purchases affordable. A direct or a revolving loan is where these programs actually serve as a lender themselves. With the grants and the federal monies that establish these programs, these are held in accounts, and they're actually to provide a loan to the people with disabilities. This allows folks to get what are often called microloans, loans under $3,000, sometimes under $1,000 that a traditional bank isn't going to want to issue because the small amounts are not cost effective for that business. But they're able to then say, nope, you need a $700 iPad with those apps for communication. We're going to give you a direct loan. You pay it back to us. Here's your payment. Here's your repayment schedule. And a lot of times those are even at a 0% interest. So it's just, we'll buy it for you and you pay us back over 12 months or 20 months or whatever the agreement is. The final option is sort of a combination of a couple of those things, and that's a non-guarantee. Well, there's a non-guarantee low-interest loan, which is where you're just able to have a lower interest by going to the bank. And a lot of times programs will combine these. So you may have a lower interest bought down and a guarantee if the bank still doesn't want to provide that loan. So programs have a lot of flexibility in structuring their services based on what they perceive as the needs of the people within their own states. Because again, these are state-by-state programs. To sort of drive home the impact that these programs can have for people, I wanted to tell you a little story about a gentleman named Jamal. And this is a picture of Jamal sitting in his vehicle. Jamal worked really hard, and he graduated high school, and he went into the Air Force, and he served many years in the Air Force. And when he was honorably discharged, he wanted to go to college. He wanted to go get his degree. He wanted to keep going with his education. And like most of us have to do, he got a part-time job while he was in college. And he was a pizza delivery man around the Atlanta area. And one night when he was working, you know, earning that money to pay his tuition, he was out delivering pizzas, and he was attacked, and he was shot, and he was paralyzed as a result from being robbed as the pizza delivery man. And there goes his income. There goes his ability to go to school. What's he going to do now? By going to Georgia's financial loan program, they were able to assist him in buying that modified vehicle so he could get himself back and forth to school. And he's able to actually continue attending colleges, and he plans on getting his bachelor's degree in the very near future. He's enrolled, and he's still participating. He's able to fully access his education. Without the lower interest rate and the guarantee that was offered by this program, he would never have been able, as an unemployed person with only disability as a source of income, he would never have been able to be approved for a modified vehicle. As I said, not every state has these programs. There's more than not have them. For the website, resnaprojects.org/AFP, which is on the final slide, that actually has a listing of each program by state, what's available, who the contact people are, and of course, we are always happy to help you find resources in any way that would help you, function more independently in society. And I'll turn it back over to Joey with that.
Wonderful. Thank you, Jason, and thank you, Paul. And I hope this has helped to clarify how the RESNA Catalyst Project can assist in providing you the information about statewide programs for assistive technology across the country, all states and territories, and how to access those alternative financing programs. Please feel free to contact us at any time, and thank you very much.